it's Elizabeth from AVÉ Parfum. I wanted to talk a little bit today about a perfume house you might have heard of called Centauri. If you watch a lot of YouTube reviews about fragrance, you may know Peter Carter. He is the perfumer who started the house. He's a self-taught perfumer, and he released his first 3 fragrances in 2019, and I have them right behind me. So first was Dendera, and then Gaia, which is the white one, and in the middle is Proxima, which came out a little bit later. One thing about these perfumes is Peter put, heart and soul into them. He not only, composed the fragrances, but he also designed the bottles, and I think even the cap, and there's, a whole bunch of symbolism, Peter's interests, hobbies, and just a lot of himself and his, deep thoughts kind of thing in his fragrances. But they're all pretty fascinating, and I find them all to be really different from one another, so just thought I'd share my thoughts on all 3 of them. One thing about these perfumes is that there's a past, present, future theme. So Dendera, which is the red one, represents the past, and well, Gaia represents the present. There we go. And Proxima represents the future. So we'll start with Dendera, and I will read the notes to you. They are nutmeg, cinnamon, orris butter, rose, Vietnamese oud, East Indian sandalwood, vetiver, frankincense, myrrh, labdanum, vanilla, and white ambergris. One thing I just want to point out is, I specifically mentioned Vietnamese oud because I know that Peter himself, as well as a lot of people out there, are big oud heads, and they know their ouds. Now, one of these oud heads, and you might know who you are, but I won't name you, thank you for sending me a sample of some natural oud, because that's what kind of got me on the journey of being able to differentiate natural from synthetic. And so I'm pointing that out because I feel like Dendera is such an oudy perfume. I feel like Dendera is almost like a reference oud fragrance because I just smell it so strongly, like the actual natural wood. And it seems almost like it's something that, it's like an oud that Peter took and tweaked it to make it just the way he wanted. So I've had it on now on my arm for about 2 or 3 hours. And so like I said, the first thing I get loud and clear is oud. And then there's something that smells it's really dusty. And I think, let's see, there's orris in here. Yeah, orris butter. I don't know if that's what's causing it or not, but there is definitely kind of like almost like a sandy dustiness. And this fragrance is based on, I believe Peter actually went to Egypt, so I think it's based on his travels in Egypt. Just kind of a fascination of the mystical world of ancient Egypt. Actually, I didn't really know this. I had never heard of Dendera light bulbs, but I guess that's what the fragrance is named after. And I guess, in some ancient tombs with, hieroglyphs and carvings was something that resembled like a modern light bulb. And so I guess they're called Dendera light bulbs. I just think that's kind of a fun fact. Another thing I get really prominently with Dendera is cinnamon. And for me, it's a cinnamon that is almost like I almost want to say like a big red gum kind of thing. I say that because those like candy or gum, they tend to be kind of hot cinnamon. I think of them as hot versus something that smells more woody. So to me, it's almost like a candy cinnamon, although the perfume is not sweet at all. Don't get me wrong. But the cinnamon lasts the whole time on me for many hours. And I don't get a lot of florals here. I see there's rose, but I don't think I smell any at all. I would imagine that that rose kind of serves to lighten it up, but to me, it's not floral at all. It's really an intensely resinous, woody, dusty, earthy, ancient type of scent. And one thing I get really prominently too, that's not in the notes, and I don't know how he did it, and it might sound a little weird, but mushrooms. It just totally smells like mushrooms to me. Really damp, damp and dark, and the scent just is like, it's like caverns or something. It's like it just smells like you're hanging out in a labyrinth. An ancient labyrinth, and I guess that was kind of the intention. So I think it's, you know, if you're into that, if you think you might be into, yeah, Egyptian, whatever, history, mythology, ancient culture, the tombs, pyramids, and you want to kind of evoke that, this is perfect. The other thing, as we're coming up to Halloween, it reminds me that it's kind of spooky, you know, if you want to remove all the ancient Egyptian stuff and kind of think of it more in modern terms, it's kind of a spooky scent. I can totally imagine being, I don't know, just in the dark forest with lots of cobwebs and mold growing, sorry, but mold growing on trees, and, you know, just everything damp, mossy, peat, you know. Yeah, that's all Dendera. So if you're looking for maybe a novel Halloween fragrance, I think this could really hit the spot. All right, so the next perfume that we're going to talk about is the Present. I'm going to go kind of in order here. And that's Gaia. Gaia I've worn a few different times. I don't have it on right now, but I feel like I'm familiar enough that I can kind of talk about it. And, you know, this is very much, it's earthy, it's floral. It's really, it's got a greenness to it too, like green foliage. And I think it's a fantastic representation of Mother Earth. It just has kind of every earthy quality about it. And it, to me, it really conjures to just Garden of Eden, you know, kind of, wild earth, if you will. So, okay, I was gonna read the notes. They are green leaves, dry earth. Didn't I say that? Foliage. Green leaves, dry earth. I want to say dry earth. It does smell kind of like soil, but it also smells just kind of like dry soil, damp soil and dry soil. Anyway, honey, tuberose, rose, lavender, orris butter, apple, cedarwood, wormwood, patch, and ambergris. So with this one, I definitely get a nice apple note in it. And it's not, I mean, aren't we all familiar with country apple? I mean, when I was growing up, country apple was like the thing. In you know, high school or whatever, from Bath and Body Works, you're not going to get like a country apple youthful thing. It just smells like a fresh, crisp apple and not particularly sweet. I think it pairs really well with the lush green notes and the honey, because the honey gives it, how do I say it, kind of a, it's like at first it's honey, and then as it wears on your skin, it dries down into something that's more animalic. So at first you might get kind of like the dripping honey type of scent, like a more viscous type of scent. And then as it dries down, on me it goes more animalic. And that could be the ambergris coming into play too. But I'd say, yeah, by the deep dry down, it's quite animalic on my skin, kind of civet-like. Now, one thing I want to say about Gaia is on me, it's fairly flowery. I get really exotic blooms, like voluptuous, blooming, really heavily fragrant flowers. So it almost evokes the jungle to me. Yeah, Gaia has something about it that's just lush and thick. And the thing that kind of makes it slant a little more unisex is the kind of the earthiness. The earthiness kind of plays with the floweriness so that it's just, I think it makes it just easier for some men to wear. Some men aren't maybe big on floral type of stuff. Either way, I think it's worth a try, and I find it very unisex. So if you're a guy that can handle florals, definitely try it out. So last, we're gonna talk about Proxima. And I have had Proxima on now also for like 3 hours on my other arm. I've only worn it a couple of times. Peter is really interested, I guess, in space travel and, you know, futuristic type of stuff, extraterrestrial stuff. And that perfume just is supposed to represent the scent of, you know, a new world, maybe a new planet or something that we've just discovered, and it's kind of the scent of that planet's air that you're kind of smelling for the first time. So that's the scoop with that. And the notes for it are grapefruit, blackcurrant, berries, aldehydes, rose, air, blonde woods, iris, jasmine, and musk. So if I haven't already said it, I've worn this just a couple times. It's a newer one. Grapefruit's in there. I get a really, really nice grapefruit. I mean, it smells like the real thing. It smells like, I wouldn't say as strong as grapefruit zest, but it definitely kind of smells like grapefruit juice distinctly. And what's cool about it is it delivers like this really nice freshness. And I think what's interesting too is I just said about the word freshness. It's like everything's fresh, you know? You step out into this new world and it's just, it's like a figurative fresh air. And that's backed by, I know that he says too that this is his most synthetic fragrance. So let's stop right there for a second. These fragrances, if I recall correctly, Dendera has the most natural ingredients, followed by Gaia and then Proxima. And so there's even kind of that element of symbolism with, you know, modern aroma chemicals being used to kind of represent more futuristic stuff. So I know there's aldehydes for one thing. Maybe there's some other aroma chemicals in here, I don't really know, but oh, like blonde woods maybe, I don't know. Definitely musk is not, it's certainly not natural in this fragrance. And all of that just kind of gives it this futuristic sort of scent that I hate to use the word synthetic or unnatural because it's not necessarily that, but it gives it a sense of the unknown. You know, you're breathing air that is not familiar. It's new to you. So I definitely feel like this fragrance captures really well a sense of that newness and freshness. And I want to say too, the second thing I get really strong in this perfume is berries. And the berries are kind of youthful. And I wouldn't, for me, it's not any one berry that stands out, which I think is kind of cool. It actually does kind of smell a little like strawberries, or maybe it smells a little like raspberries. You can't tell for sure, but it is a youthful type of a scent, berry scent. And, you know, combined with some of these, you know, lighter woods and air and, you know, modern musks, and maybe some, let me see, slightly fizzy aldehyde kind of thing. It all adds up to kind of like I want to say invigorating, but it's more like kind of exciting. It has kind of a flair of like, ooh, you know? There you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about these fragrances and hearing some thoughts about them. We definitely have samples and full bottles in stock, so give them a try. Thanks.